Yo, man. Feel like I haven't done a live in it's feel like I haven't done a live in a minute, at least on Facebook or on YouTube. I feel like I haven't really been on my regular days, but today we're talking about bidding strategies. I definitely want to dive into bidding strategies. I feel like a lot of people don't really talk about it, and really, like one of the driving reasons for why I want to get into bidding strategies today is because when I was doing the when I was selling off the appointments, the appointments you book, you pay the money. We'll go ahead, put our marketing team to use, set you up actual appointments where you can go in and you can bid. A lot of people, I would probably say about half of the people didn't know how to bid. They didn't know how to really put the numbers together. And that's not really the reason why I stopped doing it, but that led me down the road of thinking about, maybe I should stop doing this, even though I provided resources and things like that for people to be able to go out and know how to bid. But this video today, I definitely want to talk about like bidding strategy, some of the things that you can do when you go out and you're doing your walkthroughs. What are some of the things that you could do to really set yourself up for success? But I want to definitely make sure that people can hear me. Oh, somebody in the inner circle, man. Definitely appreciate you. The 12-week year is amazing. Yes, it is. 12-week year is one of the things that we've been putting into place, that I've been putting into place on my business. I've been thinking about actually becoming a real trainer to train in the 12-week year. If you don't know what the 12-week year is, you definitely want to go on Amazon, check that book out. I don't have a link for you here, but go on there, check it out. You can even get the audio book. That book, if you use the things that's in the book, it'll definitely change the way that you do your business, the way that you set your goals, and really just take you step by step so you're able to reach the goals. But shout out to you, because that's shout out to you, the Facebook user. I don't know who that is. For even bringing that up, because that's one of the things that I'm just doing it so much that sometimes I forget to even continue to talk about it. But this video, we're talking about bidding. Bidding is what we're talking about in this video. Some of the strategies that we can use in this video. So until we get questions here, I already have some that was sent to me through IG. So I'm gonna be reading off a couple of those questions. If you coming in, so I know who everybody is, tell me where you from. At least tell me the city where you come from. And again, just like always, if you guys get value out of what I'm going to talk about in this video, make sure you hit the like and subscribe. It don't cost you nothing, but it absolutely means the world to me. So I definitely appreciate you for that. But this question here is, what are some of the strategies to make my commercial cleaning bid stand out from competitors? Okay. So strategies during the bidding process to make it stand out from competitors. All right, we got Brian Parker here from New Jersey. Okay. Shout out to New Jersey. We got somebody from the Bay Area. Shout out to you. I always love the Bay. Always. Buckeye, Arizona. What's good? I know who that is. That's got to be Ken. Guys, for whatever reason, if you're on Facebook, I can't see who's who. It just shows up as a Facebook user. But we got somebody in from Connecticut. Shout out to Connecticut. Shout out to you guys. The inner circle in here holding me down, so I definitely appreciate you. But what are some of the strategies that would help your bidding process, while you're submitting bids, that's going to make you stand out from the customer? So truthfully, it's this. It's not really the numbers that you put together that's going to make you stand out. Not all the time, like 99% of the time, it's not the number. What makes you stand out from the competitors is just your overall presentation. How are you dressed? Are you on time? Are you knowledgeable? Are you able to teach the prospect something? Let them know why they may be having a specific problem. Are you able to offer them solutions? So let me give you just a really quick example. We have so many dental accounts. It's crazy the amount of dental accounts that we have. Like we got so many of them. So usually now, like either if I go in, if I do a walkthrough, because I still am doing some of the walkthroughs in the company, or if I send someone else and I delegate someone else to go out and do the walkthrough, when the prospect of a dental office is telling me that they're having a specific problem in the operatory, a lot of the time I don't even really need to let them finish their sentence because I know what the problem is. It's these little, black dots that are on the floor. It's a collection of resin that, the dental person or the dental aide, the hygienist or whoever, when they're standing over the person and they're working in their teeth, sometimes they'll pull their hand back and then it drips this stuff onto the floor and then it turns black and it gets on the floor. You can't really just mop it up. So this is one of the problems that they're having, right? Well, because we have so many of these types of accounts, I'm able to offer them the solution to the problem. Hey, bring us on within the first 1 or 2 visits. We'll make sure that all of those dots are up and you're never going to see those dots again. And this is the reason why they're there. And this is what they are. And as I'm telling them that, you can see the light bulb in their head kind of going off like, oh, okay, that makes sense now. And this is just one of the things that we just got from learning, just learning the business, learning the process, learning areas of this particular business and the niche that we're in as far as, those types of accounts go. It just took us time to learn those things. But once we're able to learn them, once I know them, it's those little things like that that makes us stand out from the competition. So, it's not necessarily the numbers. It's not and I'll be honest with you. Now that we're talking about numbers, I'll be honest. Sometimes we'll do a walkthrough or I'll go on a walkthrough and it's an account that I don't want. Maybe it's too far. Maybe, I feel like the decision maker I feel like they're going to be just too much of a problem. I'll sometimes will know what their budget is because I'll ask. And sometimes I'll go way over their budget in hopes that they don't go with us. And believe it or not, the crazy thing is sometimes they absolutely will still go with us. They'll still choose us, even though we're way over what they're currently paying. So it's not always about, the numbers. A lot of the time it's really just about how you present yourself, how you're able to teach them, and, are you able to deliver results? And if you can articulate that in a way, that's what's really going to separate you from everybody else who's out submitting proposals to that one company. So we got a Facebook user here. I said, I have a question. What is your current marketing strategy? To be real with you, so my current marketing strategy, we use everything, right? So I use SEO, search engine optimization. I use email campaigns. I use LinkedIn campaigns. We use cold calling. If I'm out into the field, like going back to the 12-week year, one of my goals, one of my action steps, even as the owner right now, every week, one of my goals is to go and knock on a new person's door. One of my goals is to ask for referrals from an existing customer. This is me, and this is not what I put on my other teammates to do. This isn't what I put on others. I don't delegate that. I make sure as an owner, me, myself, if I'm out and I'm doing a walkthrough, I have to knock on one person's door per week. I have to ask for one referral. So anyway, these are all of the ways that I do marketing right now. Now, the one that gives us the most traction is going to be cold calling. Cold calling is something that's never going to go away. It's cold calling, emails. For the bigger accounts is LinkedIn. And then everything else just kind of trickles down from there. But that's really what we're using right now for our marketing stuff. And all of the stuff, with the exception of the cold calling, all of that stuff is taught inside of the inner circle. And no, I take that back. Not inside the inner circle, inside the executive course, but I still need to add in our LinkedIn strategy. But everything outside of that, all of that's added into the course. So that's the things that we're actually using right now. What are typical contractual terms and conditions? Everyone is different. Everybody is different when it comes to setting up the contract during your bid, right? So for us, when I first started figuring out what I was doing, I would do, month to month. I say, hey, come in. If you don't like our service, just give us a 20-day notice and then we'll leave or we'll be out, right? And that was cool. Like I made, my first $200,000 doing it that way. But as you get bigger and as your team starts to grow, you need to have a little bit more, reliability. You want to be able to count on this money that's coming in, because you may have a Google Ads campaign or whatever it is set up to where you're counting on a certain amount of money to keep business flowing accordingly. So now, like all of our contracts now, we set them up on a year. This is how we present the offer. And if there's no counter, if there's no strong counter, then this is what we're going to go with. We're going to go with a year contract. Now, if they counter and say, "Hey, we don't want to do a year, we want to do a 6 month, or we want to do this, or we want to do that," then it's at that point, you figure out which way works best for you. I just had a guy counter; he didn't want to do a year, but then I said, "Hey, well, we have a 60-day grace period, so within the first 60 days, you'll see who we are, and if things are smooth, then we'll continue on with the year." If not, then give us the notice, and then we'll go ahead and part ways. Because I always say, like, I don't like doing business with people who don't like doing business with us. That's what it boils down to. So when it comes down to setting up the contracts, it's whatever works best for you. When it comes to getting paid on your contracts, you can set your payments up however you want. If you want to set your payments up so the contract says pay us up front, you can do that. If you want to say pay us in 15 days, you can do that. 30 days. I don't advise anyone to go past 30 days. Not if you don't have to. I mean, some of the larger, bigger accounts, they may want you to, but this is your business. This is however it is that you want to set your business up and run it. That way is what works best for you. You know what I mean? And then you guys can counter and counter offer and go back and forth all you want. But in the beginning, set it up to the best way that fits you, the best way that makes the most sense for your company. Does that make sense? That makes sense, guys? On how to structure it as far as a time frame goes. Hopefully that made sense. Somebody in the comments could tell me whether or not that made sense. Let's see. What are what are some of the common mistakes to avoid when preparing and submitting commercial cleaning bids? So some of the more common mistakes, and I've made this before. I just made this recently, where I'll have, like, again, so we do a lot of dental offices. For the most part, the scope of work inside of these dental offices don't change. Just like if you do a lot of gyms, the scope of work's not really going to change, because this is, it's niche specific. So an operatory is an operatory, bathrooms, kitchens, so on and so forth. They all pretty much want the same thing. Every now and then you'll get a curveball. So I have my template set up. I have my dental offices, I have my chiropractor offices, I have my daycares, I have all of these things set up. But what I did was we negotiated on one of the accounts that the customer didn't want us to take out the trash. But because I was in such a rush to go ahead and submit the proposal, because it was going to be really profitable for us, I forgot to remove that out of the contract, saying that we were going to take out trash. So, it's one of those situations where it's like, okay, I submitted it, I didn't double check, we both signed it. Even though it's still profitable with us taking out the trash, it's just one less thing. Had I been paying attention and really, focused on detail, this wouldn't even be something to talk about. But this is just not checking over the small mistakes, not double, triple checking all of your contracts. But I'm actually getting ready to start training my VAs to go ahead and submit all of my contracts, just so we can have things flow a little bit more smooth. It says, let's see here, somebody on Facebook, what is your minimum price for any contract? So and that's a really good question, but this question is actually, for me, it's area specific. So for us, if we're going to do a contract on a monthly basis, or sorry, on a weekly basis, the minimum amount that we're going to charge is $469. This is the minimum. It used to not be that. It used to be $250, but the minimum that we charge for any contract is going to be $469. Now, once we start getting down to, monthly, things change. It gets to be a little bit less than that, but for the most part, it's not going to be too much less than that, because you have to think about it. On the monthly contracts, no one's clean for a whole month. They may have done some stuff here and there, but nobody's really clean. So each month is almost going to be like a deep clean. So we don't really deviate too far away from that 469 number. I would rather have them, unless it's just like a really small off, like the size of my office is real small. It wouldn't take anyone that much time to come in here and clean. But unless it's an office like this size, and if they want to do something on a monthly basis, maybe go down to like maybe $100 less. But for the most part, that's our minimum number is 469, and we try to stick to that as close as possible. So that's the minimum. That's actually a really good question. No one has ever asked what ours was. But again, this is going to be specific to where you are and what your area is and really what you can charge. I honestly don't look at what other companies are charging. I do ask like what are they currently paying if they're comfortable if they're comfortable answering that question. I'll ask what they're currently paying. But just like I said before, like I've been known to go way over that. Just thinking like, okay, we're way over. I know we're not going to get this contract, only for the next day to find out, there's an email in my inbox with a signed contract and they want to set up dates so we can go pick up keys and alarm codes. So it really just depends on where you are as far as what your minimum price is going to be. Uh, so how do I account for variations in cleaning requirements from one commercial space to another? That's all going to be based on just the scope of work. Every place is different, even though you know a, there's a lot of similarities. Some places are different. Some places want us to clean the refrigerator once a month or the microwave once a month. Some places don't. Right? It's just however you choose to do those things. Now, for the refrigerator cleanouts, those could be anywhere from $25 to $35, depending on the situation, right? Depending on the amount of people that's in the office. We'd usually charge just a flat fee for that. Microwaves are real easy to clean out. Those are going to be another $15 or $20, and I let them know, like, hey, if this is what you want, this is the cost. This is what it's going to be. So I have to always just keep that in mind when it comes to different accounts, because they're all going to require different things. There is no just strictly cut across the board. Everybody's the same. One thing that is consistent with us, though, we don't do dishes like that. I don't care what's going on in the account, and I let them know up front. When it comes to the kitchen, and we're not going to wash your dishes. Like that's a completely different service. And I mean, for the right money, we would, but that's not something we do. We don't even offer it. And if they say, well, our last company was doing, we're not gonna. That's not what we do. That's just, I don't know. I have a thing with dishes. I don't know. That's not something that's built into our to the business model. Let's see. How can I accurately estimate time and resources needed to complete commercial cleaning job? That's actually a really, really good question. Do you guys know how to come up with like the amount of time that it would take to complete a job? Do you guys know how to do that? Let me see in the comments, because if everyone here knows how to do it, then I don't really want to explain it, but I definitely want to make sure to see if people know how to do that or not. So somebody in the comments, if you know how to do it, put a 1. If you want me to go over it, just put a 2 in the comments real quick, and I'll definitely go ahead and go over how we do that. So let me know what's going on with that. Give me a quick minute. Let me know in the comments. Someone says they don't know how to calculate time. Okay, cool. People don't know how to calculate time. Okay. So the way that the time is calculated, there's this group. It's called the ISSA. I don't know what it stands for, but they're like the industry leaders of commercial cleaning, and they set these standards generally based on how much time it takes to clean a certain amount of square feet, and this is all based on an hours formula. Okay, so for carpeted space, the last time I checked, for carpeted space, it was like 2,500, right? So what that means is the production rate to clean 2,500 feet is going to be 1 hour. So it should take one person, generally speaking, an hour to thoroughly clean 2,500 square feet. Now, the higher the number goes, let's say if it's 3,000 or 3,500, that means that person is way more efficient. In the same hour, they can get more done, right? Because the number is bigger. If it's less, that means that they're not a good cleaner, or it just takes some longer time to get it done. So that's for carpeted. Now, there really is no real difference when it comes to VCT or linoleum or ceramic or any of that stuff. The only difference is that it takes you longer. So that number is going to be smaller, where it's 2,500 for the carpet. It's like 2,000 for the hard surface floor. Okay. So, and the reason why it's a smaller number, obviously it takes you longer because there's more processes. You got to go in, you got to sweep or vacuum, and then you have to mop that space. So there's 2 processes. It's going to take you a little bit longer to do, hard floor versus carpeted floor. Okay. So say for example, you go in, you measure out a building. The building is 20,000 square feet. Let me get my calculator so I'm not wrong, right? Or so I give you real numbers. So let's say it's 20,000 square feet. We'll take 25,000 square feet, divide that by, oh no, we'll take 20,000 square feet, divide that by 2,500. That's going to give us 8. So if for one person to clean 20,000 square feet of carpeted space, it should take about 8 man hours. Okay. So this is how you figure out the time. So if you say, okay, that's 8 man hours. If I put 2 people in, then we can get this job done in, 4 hours. Or if I put 3 people in, it'll take us, I don't know, like 2.5 hours. With 3 people, we can go in. Now, you may just need one person, or you can do it with 2 people. Depending on how many other jobs you have in a night, it makes more sense for you to put 3 in so you can go and attack more jobs and cover more space in a shorter amount of time, or in the same amount of time as it would take one person to do just one building. Did that make sense? That makes sense, guys? Let me know how that works. Ken, I see you. Ken, make sure you check inside of the course, because I go way into detail in there as far as how to break that down. Okay. All right. So everyone said it makes sense. Cool. Glad it made sense. Now, when it comes to, no, I'm not gonna. I don't want to give that part. That's too much information. What I will say is this: whatever number you come up with in the end, make sure that you multiply that number by 4.33, because there is, some months have 3 weeks, some have 4, some have 5. On average, throughout the year, it balances out to about 4.33, and this is how you would get. This is how you would multiply your final number to make sure that this is how you multiply right before the final number to get you that final number, so that you're able to go ahead and submit something to your prospects in hopes that you land that contract, right? So that's really how you come up with the production time. I didn't really want to give too much away as far as like coming up with the exact numbers, only because I give all of that stuff away inside of the course. There's people here in the course, and I don't want to, it wouldn't be fair to them. But the link to the course actually is in the description if you guys are interested in that. I'm not really going to push it too hard. Those who are in it know the value of it. And yeah, it's there. It's available. Take advantage. So let's see how do I account for variations? What strategies can I use to make commercial cleaning bids stand out? We got that one. What factors should be considered when determining? Okay, so that's a good question. All right, so what factors should be considered when determining the price for a commercial cleaning bid? We just kind of went over that. How much of the floor is carpeted versus how much of it is, hard floor? How many bathrooms are you doing? Is this a 2, 3, 4-story building? How many steps are included, right? So you can go up one side of the stairs, count the stairs there, and then usually you can ask how many other sets of stairs in here. Most buildings have 2 sets of stairs, some have 3. Right. But then you can just do the math and they'll tell you how many stairs there are, how many stairs total there are. Because I can tell you this, just like that one example I just went over, where we're talking about a 20,000 square foot building. Well, this is assuming that, this is empty. There is no trash. There's nothing that's going on in there. If this is a building and it's set up like a call center, like one of our biggest accounts that we have, there's tons of trash, there's recycle, there's a lot of different things that you have to take into account, that have to take into consideration. There is a software. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Let me tell you this. I'm gonna tell you this straight up. So this whole time, if you've been rocking with me for over a year, this whole time I've been talking about putting this course together. Well, the course really wasn't the hardest part to put together, because I had all of that information in my head already. The hardest part about putting this together was actually creating the bidding software, the bidding calculators, all of the things that came with that. Now, here's the thing. Once it was created, I still saw some imperfections in it. That's probably like my biggest problem. Like I'm a perfectionist. I like to have things done right. I like to have them done the right way. Once it was done to the point where I could put a price point on it, I put it out. I didn't really push it, because still in the back of my mind, I'm like, yo, this isn't quite right. Through me going through that process, I found another, and I'm gonna put this in in the description. You guys can check this out once this video's over. I got to get the link, but I found another. It's another software. It's another software, and ours is similar, but at the price point of this other software in comparison to mine, you're gonna get more out of it. Now, how many people are going to tell you like, yo, I created this thing, but use, look at this other one because you're going to get more value out of it. Where my software sits right now, it does work. It is good, but this other one is going to give you more. You're going to get more bang for your buck out of the other software. And I'm going to put the link in the description. I just don't have it now. But this is just me just being genuine. I want to be honest. I want to be straight up. I'm not just trying to sell you my stuff. That's not what it is. I want you to be able to invest your money and invest your time into things that work, that give you, what you're actually investing in. I want you to be able to get a return on your investment. And even though you still would with mine, it doesn't fall. It's I would give mine probably about a 7. This other one is a 10. Only because of the price point. I wasn't able. I can't match that price. So that's what it all boils down to. So I just want to be able to give you guys the most value as possible. And even if that means that you got to go in a different direction, then that's what it is. Because at the end of the day, we all here to grow our business and to be able to build those stepping stones for financial freedom and generational wealth and all of that other stuff. So that's really what we're looking at. Speaking of generational wealth too, I don't want to get too far off topic. I didn't know that 85% of today's millionaires, billionaires are all first generation. I didn't know that. So we're talking about 15% of the money that's out there, the millionaires, the billionaires, like only 15% of them is inherited. It kind of just got me to thinking about the whole general wealth thing or generational wealth thing in general. So I don't know. That's kind of weird. What do you guys think about that? I thought that the number of people who were actually inheriting their money, I thought that it would have been a whole lot higher than what it is. But it's crazy because, I just found that out. Only 15%. Let me see. So this looks like a good question. How do I effectively communicate my proposition and expertise to potential clients when submitting a commercial cleaning bid? So really what this boils down to is confidence, right? Being confident in yourself, what you can deliver. As long as you can, and I always say things, I always say this, make things as simple as possible. The customer, the prospect, they have a problem. You have to articulate in a way that lets them know that you can solve the problem, that your company is the best option to get the problem solved as quickly as possible and on a consistent basis. So what are some of the things that you can say, in that very small window of time to best articulate that point? What are some of the things that you can say? So some of the things that I say, I'll tell them, I'll listen to what their concerns are. And I'm validating some of their concerns because they do have valid concerns, especially when I go in and I can see that there's dust or there's spider webs or there's, all of the thing, we can see it. Right. But after that, let them know like, hey, this is what we're able to do. We're able to come in. We're going to make sure that, the dust, the reason why those picture frames are connected and spider webs and all those things, they're not dusting the way they're supposed to. And in an office this big or office this small, whatever the case is, it's not like you absolutely have to dust every single day. Once a week, twice a week, whatever the case is. But then also to let them know, like, these are the things that we're going to make sure that we touch on. So all flat surfaces, all high touch points, doorknobs, light switches, telephone receivers, all of these things, you're letting them know that you're not new to explaining yourself to people in a way that they can understand and be able to deliver that message in a way that they can trust that you're going to do what you're saying that you're going to be able to do. So I hope that made sense, man. It really just boils down to being confident, and you don't have to be in this industry for a long time. And that's the other thing too. Like, I don't want you to think that you have to have all of these years. I got a lot of years in this industry, but it didn't take me this long to to get to this point. Like I was doing pretty good years ago. Uh, what I wish I would have known then, and I wish I would have applied then, is just listen first. Listen to what their problems are. They're going to tell you where their problems are. They're going to tell you where their pain points are. And if you're able to deliver, they're going to tell you what the pain is. And if you can deliver the Tylenol, the aspirin, or the Band-Aid, or whatever it is to fix and soothe that pain, then they're going to sign contracts with you. That's just what it is. There's no other way around it. Even in cases where, you know, your prices are way higher than the person who's servicing them right now. That's really what it boils down to. Can you speak to their issues? I talk to people who, you know, own, you know, daycare facilities. I talk to people who own barbershops, people who are, and they're all looking to get into this industry. And I'll tell them this, I'm telling you the same thing that I tell them. If you're getting into this space and you want to focus on commercial, then why not focus on what you know? Like RNs, I'm tired of being a nurse. I want to do something different. Then why not focus on, you know, medical facilities? Because you could speak to the pain points of the people in the medical profession. You know what it feels like when you come in and you got to put on your scrubs and your shoes are right outside your locker, and it's Monday morning and you pull your shoes out and then there's cereal or confetti from the party that happened the weekend or the Friday before then, right? You could speak to those pain points. You know what it feels like to have, you know, this happen or that happen. So being that you have that experience, take it, use it, build on it. And that's how you can really start your business. That's how you can grow your business to get to the point where, you know, you're doing the things that you really want to do. So I didn't mean to ramble on too much, man. What's going on in these comments? What's going on? We looking kind of dry right now, guys. What's happening? Once again, guys, if you're getting value, if you got any value out of this video, make sure you go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button, man. I definitely appreciate you. One of the other things too, I had someone reach out to me about 2 weeks ago. They wanted to buy more leads. They wanted to buy some appointments. Now, if you don't know, I changed the way that we do the appointment setting. I almost kind of like took it away. It's still there, but we no longer sell them like by the appointment. You got to buy a big bulk of them. And I know that most people aren't going to do it, but long story short, you know, he wanted to buy some more appointments. He had success with the appointments before. But his only thing was this. He said, I bought appointments from you. I bought appointments from other people. It seems like my appointments were more valid than their appointments because they'll show up and maybe the person who they're supposed to show up to see, you know, they don't know that they're there to see him, or they're not there, or they delegate the task to somebody else and they don't really know what's going on. Said, but he was telling me like he's never had that problem with me or in my company when it comes to buying the appointments. And I told him, and I already stopped selling them. So I'm like, listen, man, like I hear you. And really what it is you you got lucky, to be real, right? Because even now, we did a couple of walkthroughs today. I went and I did one. Okay. So I went and I did my walkthrough today. The person who I was supposed to meet with wasn't there. And he delegated it. I think it was his wife or something. She didn't really know what was going on. She tried her best to help, but she didn't really know what was going on. So I left my card. I took his card. So we'll try to reconnect later on. But my point in bringing this up is, you know, when you guys, you know, pay for a service or something along those lines, like nothing is 100% perfect, right? Like when I bought my truck, I bought a brand new Silverado a few years ago. When I got my truck, like I had to take it back because there was some things that was going on with it, right? So it's just the same way in anything else. If I would have paid for the appointment that I went to today and it would have turned out the way that it turned out and I'm brand new, I could understand why someone might feel like, oh man, I got taken advantage of, or this wasn't right. This is just business at the end of the day. The person on the other end, we got recorded calls saying that, you know, that yes, come in, it's confirmed. We want you to do the walkthrough, the whole 9 yards. But when you get there, they're not there. And the person they put in charge really don't know what's going on. I don't know what happened in the decision maker's day to make them have to, you know, change plans or whatever. But I'm saying all that just to say, like, oh, it's a part of business. This is just what it is. So, I will reconnect with them later on, and then we'll either redo the walkthrough, or I will submit numbers based on what they tell me over the phone and what I saw when I was there. And then we'll go from there. They got my contact information. They'll reach out to me on a later time, and either we'll do business together or we won't. But if you guys are buying leads or buying appointments from other people, from other businesses, just know that sometimes there are things that we're just not in control of, right? And if the decision maker isn't there or whatever, like, still get the information, and then you can always double back and connect with them later. I did one maybe a month ago, 2 months ago, and the guy, he said, hey, message us before you guys come, because I don't really know what's going on. I thought that was weird, but a week before the person was supposed to go out and do the walkthrough, he had to, I guess he left town. He said, check with me in a month, right? So we ended up replacing that one, but I told her, I'm like, hey, like, when he come back, follow up with him. Like, I'm not tripping. Like, you got the information, make it work, follow up with him. But this is just some of the stuff that happens, and I'm only bringing that up because it all pertains to bidding and doing walkthroughs and submitting proposals and that whole nine. So where we at, guys? You guys got any questions for me? Let's see where we at. It's on the East Coast. Let's see, on the East Coast is what, 12:30 right now, or 3:30? We got a couple people in here from Connecticut. Wait a minute. Is the person on Facebook, the person that's from Connecticut, are you still here? Put a 1, Connecticut. I think I might know who the Connecticut one is. I got some questions. Let's see. All right. Let's see. How can I ensure that my commercial cleaning business is both competitive and profitable? That's a good question. All right. How can I ensure that my commercial cleaning bid is both competitive and profitable? There really isn't. So on the profitable side, how much it takes for you to run your business. I just gave you the breakdown on how much time it should take for you to actually complete a job. Now, how much you're going to pay your employees. What I will say is this. If you're thinking about getting into subcontracting later on down the line, then I would say submit your proposal based on what you could get away with giving that account to a subcontractor for, or just make sure you charge maybe like 2% or 2 times the amount of what you would pay your employee, and then you can kind of figure things out from there, whether or not that it's going to be profitable for you. In terms of making sure that it's competitive, this is one of the follow-up questions that I always ask if we don't get a bid, right? If we aren't awarded the contract, I'll always ask, is there anything that we could have done different to make our accounts more or to make our proposal more competitive? Is there anything that we could have done different? Most of the time they'll tell you. Very rarely will they not tell you. Perfect example, last week, this is an account that I really, really wanted. And I think we still may get, because we just did a lot of hiring. But as of right now, she told me, like, hey, you guys didn't get the bid. I said, okay, was there anything that we could have done to make it a little bit more competitive? She said the only thing that stood in the way of us not getting the account and them giving it to someone else was the fact that they had more people during the day that was available in case there was an emergency at this account. Now, this account is what do you call it? It's I don't know if it's called it's a methadone clinic where people come in to get off of drugs, outpatients, not inpatient. But it was one of those types of places. And that was really the only thing that stood in the way of us getting that account. So when you don't get an account, when you're not awarded the account, I always say, go back and ask the question of why you didn't get the account, or what could have made you more competitive for the future, right? What could make your company stand out that much more? And if you do that 3 or 4 times on different accounts and you're getting the same answer over and over again, then it's probably something that you got going on in your business that you might want to think about changing if you want to have more success later on in the future. Um, but that's really one of the biggest things. And I started off doing that because there was so much that I didn't know. There was a lot of stuff that I didn't know. I didn't know what I didn't know, right? But I did know that if I wasn't going to get the account, how was I going to get better? What are some of the things that I could do to get better? And then that led me to, videotaping like 90% of my walkthroughs to see what did I say? What was the facial expression of the person after I said it? What did they say? And then what was my response and how did I give it away? Quick example of that. This was before COVID. There was a YMCA and I did the walkthrough. The walkthrough was amazing. The guy liked me. He said, okay, Marcus, I'm going to invite you back. We're going to do a second walkthrough, but this time I'm going to have the district manager. I guess there's all different, different managers or whatever. So I'm going to bring in the district manager and it's essentially like a job interview, right? So they were in a job interview type situation. I'm at a table. They're on the other side. And they're going back and forth asking me these questions. And at the time, I was on my way really all the way out, but there was things that I still needed to tighten up in the business that would allow me to just work on the business and not really work in the business. Everybody's been there, right? I was just getting outside of that uncomfortable phase. But one of their questions was, now, what are you going to do if your staff, if they're not able to make it? This is the YMCA. People rely on this place every day. Sometimes it's therapy for some people, and we're open early. What are you going to do if some of your staff can't make it the night before? What are you going to do to ensure that, our building is clean? I told them, I said, listen, we haven't had a situation where, we weren't able to step in and get accounts taken care of. I said, if need be, I'll come in and I'll do it. Well, they really like that answer, right? They love the answer that I gave, that I'll step up, I'll come in, I'll do it. But he asked me a follow-up question to that. He said, well, when was the last time? He's like smiling, he's nodding. He's like, yeah, when was the last time, that you had to actually step in and do that? And me being honest, I told him like 2 weeks ago, a week ago, whatever it was, and their faces just dropped. And I said, oh man, because I can see the body language, right? I'm reading the body language. Their faces has changed. And I knew at that point I didn't get it, but I couldn't understand why I didn't get it. Even though like me saying that triggered, like, I know I'm not getting this account, but why are they so mad? Why did everything change? We were just, fist bumping a minute ago. Why did everything change once I said that? So later on that night, I get the email. We decided to go in another direction. You guys know how that email looks. So I hit him with it. I said, hey, I thought everything was going well. Is there anything that I could have done, in the future? Is there anything I could do in the future that would make me more competitive? And he told me, he said, the only reason why we didn't go with you is because your company at that time, it just wasn't mature enough. We weren't mature enough as far as, the hiring process, having enough people come in so that I don't have to come in. Him hearing the owner say, I'll come in and I'll do it, it turned them completely off, right? So these are the things, these are some of the questions, some of the tactics that I use in my business and I tell people about, like, this is how you make your business better. These are some of the questions that you should be asking. Always ask, is there anything that you can do to win business in the future or make yourself more competitive later on down the line? And I just had to go through that. And that was really one of the first time. And this account, like that account would have changed a lot of stuff in that situation. Like that account would have changed so much. I think that account was paying like, if I remember, like 10.5 or 11.1, something around, somewhere around there. It was paying a good amount of money. That one account was a 6-figure account. That would have changed a lot for us. Now it's a good thing we didn't end up getting it because remember I said it was right before COVID. Like a month later, the YMCA had to shut down. Right. So I would have hired all these people. We'd have been working it. Some things would have changed in the business. I probably would have bought more products and more machines to service the business, only to lose all of it right after. But that didn't change the fact that, if you're not going to get an account, always ask what you can do in the future to make yourself more appealing. And since then, I haven't even been able to get, I haven't even been able to get in touch with any of those guys. So, but that's just, one of the things to learn from. Another thing, when it comes to pricing strategies, when it comes to, especially your big accounts. Actually, you know what? I'm not even going to say when it comes to big accounts, just accounts in general, but you really feel it on the big ones. If a customer lets you know, right, that they are thrilled about your price, you charge way too low. The amount of money that you charged, it just wasn't enough. And I'm going to remember, guys. I'm going to put the link to the bidding software. I'm going to put all of that in the description once this video is over with, or at least in the first comment. So make sure you double check on that. But if they're excited about it, you price way too low. I got a email. This was years ago. This was way before COVID. They wanted us to do, it was like 5 or 6 car dealerships. Now, I'm not going to lie. I thought it was spam. I thought it was a spam email. But when I followed up with the guy, it wasn't spam. We set everything up. It was a bunch of us. Sometimes you'll do these group walkthroughs. And we all went on this walkthrough. We went to each and every dealership. It was broke up over 2 days. So we're going over all of these dealerships, and I'm looking at everything, and I'm like, okay, we can do this. We can do this, like 5 or 6 dealerships. And I ended up submitting the proposal when it was time to submit. And the guy messaged me. He said, Marcus, we are so impressed with your pricing. I said, damn. I said, I didn't charge enough money. He said, we're so impressed. We want to move forward. I don't know what happened with that account, but I don't know. It went away. I called the guy. We ended up not getting it. But he told me he was impressed with my pricing. And that told me that I didn't charge enough money. You can really hurt your business by not charging enough. I'd rather charge you more than undercharge. I'd rather charge you way more than undercharge, because at least when you overcharge, you can make up for it. You can make sense of it. You can hire more inspectors. You can hire more managers. You can put people in, especially in car dealerships. When people go in and they go buy a $50,000, $60,000 car, there are certain expectations. For one, the showroom needs to be clean. That means there are no fingerprints, no nothing. Those fingerprints on the door and that's that could be expected at a daycare. But not at a car dealership where they're selling $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 cars. They don't want to see that. People are getting ready to spend a lot of money. They want them to feel comfortable. This is the reason why when you go, the whole thing, the new car smell, when you go in, they got popcorn, they got fresh coffee, they got all of the things in there, right? They want to accommodate their customer base as much as possible. So if you overcharge in a car dealership, you can always make up for it by making sure that your service is on point, making sure that when they come in, they may have financing on their mind. They may have who's the next customer on their mind. They may have the Fed just changed the rates. They may have something like that on their mind, but they won't have, were the cleaners here? Did they do what they're supposed to do? They're not going to have that on their mind, because if you're overcharging, then you can at least make up for it by making sure that all of the things are put in place and are done the way that they're supposed to be done. So that and it's not uncommon. Like when we do car dealerships now, I know exactly where to look. I know that the problem isn't going to be on the showroom. Most of the time, it's not going to be on the showroom, because every company who has a car dealership, they should know. Every company who's cleaning car dealerships should know at the very least the showroom needs to look nice. I'm gonna give you a tip. The places where the problems are going to be is probably going to be in the cushions of the couches. There's going to be popcorn. There's going to be stuff. If there's couches against the wall, move that couch from the wall and look back there. You're going to see all of that stuff, and show the person who you're actually going on a walkthrough. Show them, like, wait a minute, I thought you said they're coming 5 days, 7 days a week, but I don't know. You see here, they don't look like. Okay, we'll just go ahead and continue, right? You just dropping these little gems, putting it in their mind, like, you guys aren't really getting the things that you're paying for. So when they tell you what their budget is, and then you come back in even over their budget, or you don't got to be greedy. If what they're paying right now is more than enough for you and your business, and you can do all of the things to make sure that company is satisfied, come in at the budget. That's fine too, right? But at the very minimum, you showing like, hey, you were right for calling my company, or you were right for accepting us into your business, so that we're able to provide you with the quote to make sure that when you come to work, you can focus on the things that you're supposed to be focusing on, and not the things that my company or the other person's company should have been focused on last night. At the very minimum, like that's what you can do. Show them the areas that they're not looking at, right? So when you do that, it all makes sense, right? I forgot the question. Let me see what the question was. Benchmark strategies. Yep. So yeah. So that's what it is. Asking what areas can you improve on if you don't end up getting the account, right? So let me see. Industry standards, benchmarks I should be aware of when bidding on. Yeah. So the only industry standard or benchmark is what we went over earlier with the production rate. The production rates, those are going to be like the industry standard. Now, and here's the other thing too, I forgot to mention about the production rate. So everyone, there's the standard, okay? The 2,500 for the carpet. But my company, our production rate we may be able to cover more time, more space, especially with some of our experienced cleaners. We're going to be able to cover more space. Now, just because we cover more space and we're more efficient, I'm still going to charge you. I'm probably going to charge you more because you're paying me to do a good job, and I pay my best cleaners for efficiency to get in there, do the best job that they can do. You're going to earn more money. So I'm paying them for efficiency. But keep in mind, like, everyone's production rate is going to be slightly different based on the account that you're in, the amount of experience that you have, and you know, the cleaners that you have in there. Everyone's production rate is going to be slightly different. But the standard is that what I just went over, about 2,500. Let's see. Can I ensure commercial cleaning contract bid through both competitive and profitable? All right. What are some of the more common mistakes to avoid cleaning bids? Let's see what was common. Yep, I went over that one. Okay, yep. So guys, you got any questions from me? Any questions at all, man? I got no questions. You guys are asking questions in the beginning. Let's see if we got any questions. Well, guys, like I said too, I'm going to drop the link to that, to the software that we use. One of the benefits about the software is, you know, it's software, right? So once you do it, you know, it's emailed to you. You don't have to worry about, you know, remembering or what did I do with it, or if you like me and you got, you know, I got sticky pads all over my desk at home just from writing down stuff. It just minimizes the amount of stuff that you actually have to write, and it just makes stuff that much easier for you. But guys, if you guys got no questions for me, man, I'm going to go ahead and hop off of here. But I appreciate all of you, Inner Circle. You guys held me down. Definitely appreciate that. Guys, like I say, in the game of business, spectators only watch. Hustlers get in the game so they can win. I'm always dropping jewels, but the only way to be in position to pick them up, you got to like, comment, and subscribe. Once again, my name is Marcus Crockett. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.